Hello everyone. Today I'm welcoming Laia Canals to talk about her work with virtual exchange. Laia, please introduce yourself to our viewers.
My name is Laia Canals, and I work at the Open University in Catalonia. It's an online university. It's actually the first online university that was born as online. And yeah, I think this is a very good context for me to work on international virtual exchanges.
Absolutely. So, Laia, tell us a bit about the work you've conducted on virtual exchanges.
Right. So I started looking at virtual exchanges from a very linguistic approach, which is not the current way of approaching virtual exchanges. And my first motivation was I was conducting virtual exchanges at my institution. And for me, it was a way of justifying and convincing both students and administrators and professors that virtual exchanges actually were beneficial for our students. So I started with this idea in mind that I had to prove in a way that these virtual exchanges actually worked. So I did the first study I conducted was to compare what happens when students go through this virtual exchange versus students just studying online with us. So I
Ah.
did a two comparison between C-level students taking the virtual exchange and C-level students taking the regular course. Both of them were, going through the same tasks and stuff, but the virtual exchange group were doing the virtual exchange additionally to the course.
Mm.
And what I saw is that they improved uh, more on their oral skills compared with the group who didn't carry out the virtual exchange. And then I had some sort of like evidence that the virtual exchange did impact their oral skills.
Obviously, speaking to other English speakers or in a natural context help their oral skills. Did you see any other advantages or any other competencies that were enhanced by doing the virtual exchange then?
Yeah, actually, I did. Besides the oral skills, I also saw that their willingness to communicate with others in English improved. So they saw a point in learning English to communicate rather than learning English to pass an exam or to graduate from the university. So it added this additional willingness to speak in the language, right, in the foreign language.
So when you suggested it back then, I didn't ask you how long ago it was, but um, how long
Yeah,
ago?
it was like 6 years, 7 years ago.
Okay. So did you have trouble convincing these students that virtual exchange was a good idea, or did they throw themselves into it?
I think most of the ones who carried out the exchange were very happy about it. I had difficulties first recruiting them, right? So this was on a voluntary basis. When I first recruited them, these were the ones who were positive about it anyways, right? But some of them had some trouble with their partners, right? And then at the end, though, they saw the benefit. So then it was like another way of convincing that although there was some trouble during the exchange, like timings and people not responding on time, in the end they saw how
Hmm.
beneficial it was for them. But for me, it was like more convincing other professors, maybe administrators, and people at the university at large, because although at that point when I started doing this research, they said there was a lot of evidence that it was beneficially linguistically, but I hadn't seen any real studies looking at it from the point of view I looked at. So I thought it was useful in that sense.
So I'm hearing in terms of challenges, you had recruitment challenges, you had the students saying, oh, they're not, my partners aren't answering me, and timings and everything. And another challenge you had was convincing your institution about the benefits of virtual education. Were there any other challenges that you wish to highlight, or were those the main issues initially?
Initially, those were the main issues. Then, of course, another issue comes on top of that is for me a big issue, and I still haven't solved it, at least in my institution. And I don't think I have seen many institutions that have solved that issue is certifying or recognizing credits for virtual exchange participation. I
What do
think
you
this is
do at the moment? Do they get a certificate? Do you use open badges, for example?
I,
Is that
I I
a
used open
discussion?
badges in some of them, but they really would want credit for that, right? So for me, the only way I could is embedding them into regular courses, so they are part of assignments of regular courses. But the ideal case for me would be is participating in this type of exchanges should should be rewarded as credits, as
Mm,
additional credits, right? Like the same way when you go to an Erasmus program abroad and you take courses at another institution, those courses get recognized, right?
mm. But what is it like within your institution, which you've said is an online institution? Have things evolved over the past 6 years to recognise the benefits of virtual exchange? And are you getting more institutional support, or is that still one of your things that you
It's,
have
I'm
to overcome?
afraid, yeah, I'm afraid it's still one of my of the things I have to continuously work on. As an online institution, I mean, we can understand the benefits of it. It takes a long time to build this institutional structure to
Mm.
recognize them as credits, for instance, as ECTS credits.
But do you have allies within the institution then, or
I
is there
do have allies, and I have other colleagues who have tried this, but it's always within subjects within degrees, not as a standalone course that students can take for credit, for instance. So
right. Work in
I'm
progress, I'm
yeah,
hearing.
I'm making some progress, but of course, it's just one part of my research and one part of my tasks in the institution. So it will take some time,
Mm, right.
but I'm thinking this is one of the ways to go. And obviously, I need also other institutions involved. I don't think it can happen just in one university. I think it should be a European-wide uh, project or line of work.
Now, before I let you go, Laia, you are going to be one of the keynote speakers at our UNICollaboration conference in Cyprus, in Limassol, next year. Can you give us a little taste of what you're going to talk about without giving too much away?
Right. Okay, so first, I think I'm gonna talk about the different studies I did. We just mentioned one of them. This was the beginning of my research on virtual exchanges. But then I looked at virtual exchanges from a myriad of different perspectives, and I would like to give the audience a taste of the different perspectives that I took in looking at the same or similar virtual exchanges. So, like benefits of the exchanges in terms of linguistic gains into multimodal communication. Also, I looked at more like interactional aspects of the exchange, and also the use of the different languages involved, right? Also plurilingualism, how students use their multiple languages and multiple ways of communicating within these virtual exchanges. There would be another big issue for me is how these virtual exchanges help us include learners from different backgrounds, from different countries, from different languages, and even if it's not involving their main languages, as lingua franca exchanges, but targeting those countries, languages, learners who don't usually participate in these
Mm.
exchanges. So this, for me, is another objective of my future research or the future research I would like to see in virtual exchanges.